All right, my friends, welcome to another episode of the Transformation Coach.me podcast. I have got a good one for you today, folks. You are in store for some high energy coming your way. I have a very special guest, a 91-pound transformation success story. I've got Mike Daggett, a.k.a. Fat Dag from fatdag.com. And this guy is going to blow your mind, fire you up, and just get you motivated to make some serious changes in your own life so that you can get transformation results just like he has done. He's another one of those people that leads by example, and he's out there just sharing what he knows. And we're super, super excited. I'm also super excited. He's my first out-of-town guest, but from Indiana. I've interviewed people from different states and things like that, and we were actually talking through via Instagram. We're like, "Hey, you're from Indiana. I'm from Indiana. This is awesome." So go Hoosiers. Mike is also a senior master sergeant in the Air Force. He's got a great story. So first things first, Mike, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you, man.
Man, Adam, it is an honor to be here hanging out with you today. And, I was attracted to your story online, and I've been following you on Instagram for a while as I was doing my own thing. And to sit here right now and talking to you, it's the coolest thing in the world. So thanks, brother.
Cool. Well, I think our listeners are in for a treat. We have similar personalities, and I think we're gonna set their eyeballs on fire, and
I love it.
They're gonna be ready to take on the world. So
boom,
we're gonna dive right in, man. Your story is awesome. And I've researched the website, and I love kind of that story of that initial motivation. And we all have it. Anybody that's lost a significant amount of weight has that moment of, okay, it's time for things to change. So I'd love for you to kind of tell me that story of how you got to the point where you were ready for a change.
Absolutely. So I was ready for a change 24 years ago. I just didn't know how to do it. And so I've been military now for 24 years. Most of my military career, I've been overweight. And, of course, the military does not like it when you're overweight, and they make you do this PT test to prove that you're not. And so I would struggle with that dang thing. For 20-some years, I struggled with it. And every January, my New Year's resolution was to lose weight. And so I would lose the weight. I'd pass my PT test. And then for the rest of the year, I'd focus on gaining weight. And that doesn't work, man. You can't do it. And so it came a point where I was in a point in my career. I took my PT test and I didn't pass it. And I tell you, that's a humbling, soul searching feeling when you all of a sudden realize that you're a failure. And in my scenario, it meant I was getting ready to get kicked out of the military. Wow. So I devoted my entire life to being in the military. Everything I've done has been service orientated. And for them to tell me that I can no longer do that simply because I couldn't get my eating and my food under control it just killed me. And so my motivation was I don't ever want to fail another PT test in my entire life. And I've successfully beat that beast, but it's a work in progress for the rest of my life. You know that.
Oh yeah. It's a ongoing battle because we're surrounded by food. We have to consume food for energy to live a healthy life. And those choices are always there. So this is awesome. So what did it feel like? You get down to that point where they're telling you, you've got to do this or you're out. Like, I can't even imagine, especially as a career and, your life's purpose, like what was going through your head at that point?
Yeah. So it gets a little worse than that obviously happily married, got a beautiful family. And everything we own in our house comes from that source of income, Right. So not only am I losing my job, but I'm losing my livelihood. And I know it's all up to me to make the change. There's no one that can do this for you. And there's motivation all over the place. But without the discipline to actually act on the motivation, I couldn't figure it out. So when I say I wanted to lose weight for 20 years, I wasn't kidding. I don't want to be overweight in the military. I've been a military recruiter. And at 264 pounds, I've looked at a kid who was 195 pounds. I told him he was too fat to join the military. The kid looks at me and goes, "Say what?" And I said, "Well, hey, it's different. I'm in now, and that is so, it messes with your mind when you have to say stuff like that." And so, for a long time and, 264 pounds walking into a high school, wearing a military uniform, it's embarrassing. So that whole internal struggle just forced me to say, you know what, I've got to figure this out. And so I struggled for years trying to figure it out. And I finally just, you get to a point. I've read a lot of things about a lot of successful people in a lot of different areas, and you've got to hit that rock bottom. And when you're there, you'll do whatever it takes to get away from it. And that's where I was.
Right. And I know you are big on the why, and we'll touch on that. And, I always talk about it's the why versus the why not. And eventually your why is strong enough to combat and outweigh all of those why nots, even if they all happen at the same time. And that is when people can really do something amazing. And that, I think you're a great example of always setting that New Year's resolution, but the why wasn't bigger than the why nots at that point until eventually it was. It wasn't there until it was. And
that's exactly it. You can't find a single person on the planet that doesn't know how to lose weight, right? Eat less, exercise more, burn more calories than you consume. Everybody knows that. So if everybody knows that, why don't we all just do it? Oh, because there's more to it than just knowing how to do it. You've got to have a reason why, and you've got to stay focused to get it done. Yeah, that's why is got to be stronger than why not for sure.
So the next step was really interesting to me. I feel like it's unique let's talk about what you did to lose weight and how, like, the nutrition and fitness. Let's start with the nutrition side of things. What did you dig in with from the nutrition programming standpoint?
Yeah, so I'm an odd duck in a sense where I'm a very, very picky eater, and vegetables, fruits, none of those things enter my diet. If I can't order it by number, I didn't want it. And so that was kind of how I lived most of my life, and it's no wonder I got in the trouble that I got in. But so I had been successful. There's a bunch of different diets out there and different programs out there, and I found success early on with Weight Watchers in a sense where I could follow the plan. It was regimented enough where I could stick with it. As long as I stayed on it, I did good. So I would lose 30, 40 pounds. I would quit. I would gain it all back. I would do it again. So it took me 5 times to finally figure it out. But so the beauty of it is this latest program, it finally, because I stuck to it so disciplined, it taught me how to eat salad. And I joke with people when I say that, is like, I don't eat salad, but now I do because I was regimented to the plan. And their plan is when you're done eating, what we say, when you're done eating points for the day, you stop eating points, but you can have salad. And so I was like, well, I'm out of food. I guess I'll eat salad because I'm hungry. I'm like, now I eat salad, So the nutrition side's huge. Is I was big on protein and just following the plan. But one of the things I always say is there's a million plans out there, and every single one of them has people just like you and I that are successful. So you've got to find something you can stick with that works into your lifestyle, that works with your brain, that you can stay with. And if you work the one that you're on and it's working for you to stay on it, you're going to have the success as long as you can stay on it.
Yeah, I 100% agree there, Mike. And it's like when I've been in the fitness industry for 17 years now, and there's ego when you are a fitness professional, and it's like, you have to prove yourself that the program that you developed is the ultimate solution. And what I found is that there are so many programs out there that work. It's more about you being able to stick with it, you having the why, like we talked about, that outweighs the why not, and then you knowing what screws you up. Like, how do you always screw this up? It's usually not the plan. It's something that has to do with life throwing curveballs at you that you weren't ready for.
Totally.
And that's where it gets messed up. Go ahead.
I always say I want to invent a pizza diet, right? Because everyone loves pizza. So if I invented the pizza diet and I said to you, Adam, hey, you can have 1 slice of pizza for breakfast, 1 slice of pizza for lunch, and 1 slice of pizza for dinner, and you followed that, and that was the only thing you ate, you'd lose weight. There's no way you couldn't lose weight. Now, you wouldn't be healthy. It wouldn't be good for you. You wouldn't add any muscle tone, but you would lose weight if you could stick with it. Now, the reality is not everyone's going to be able to stick with it, because you go to a birthday party, there's no pizza. What do? So you've got to find something that works into your lifestyle, and you got to battle the complacency beast where, everybody who starts any plan and they get great success early on, they lose 5, 10, 15 pounds. And all of a sudden, 20 pounds is huge. When you're down 20 pounds from your highest weight, you feel good, you look good and feel good compared to your max. So therefore you slowly start slacking off, and all of a sudden, 5 days at the gym turns into 3 days at the gym, turns into, maybe I'll have an extra beer for lunch. And then all of a sudden you just fall off the plan because life takes over. So that you can't have that. If you want your why to stay on it has to be stronger than all those other things.
Yep. So what about fitness wise? Let's talk about kind of where you started at with, obviously people that are heavier have to start in a different place than when they get in shape. So how has that transition worked from beginning the fitness journey and to kind of what you're into now?
Totally. So I thought I was that person that thought I could go to the gym and lose the weight. And so this January 2016, I went to the gym. I was the New Year's Eve resolution guy. I walked into the gym at 5:00 in the morning, to a gym full of muscle heads, and I love my muscle heads at the gym, but I walked in, at 264 pounds at 5:00 in the morning. And I know the entire gym looked at me like, oh, Happy New Year. And, but I had to put that aside because I was there for me. Right. And so I didn't pay any attention to any of that. And I get on the treadmill and I said, all I'm going to do is I'm going to set attendance goal. I say all the time, set attendance goals, not performance goals, until you're ready to set a performance goal. But if you don't know where you're at, set attendance goals. So I did that. I said every morning I went to the gym. So for January, I went to the gym, I say every single morning. I missed maybe a couple. February, I went to the gym every single morning, missed maybe a couple. At the end of February, I weighed the exact same. So all of a sudden I went, wait a minute, I'm busting my tail at 5:00 in the morning. I'm in the gym on a treadmill for an hour a day for roughly 60 days in a row and didn't lose a single pound. Why? Because I would leave the gym and I would go to McDonald's for breakfast, So I got the food side under control in March, and then that started it. And so I just kept with my routine of walking at the gym, did nothing more than walking. I set that attendance goal. As I slowly started the weight coming off, I get down to about 20, 30 pounds come off. All of a sudden, walking wasn't any fun for me. It wasn't a challenge. So I would now, instead of walking for an hour, I'd walk for 30 minutes and run for 30 minutes. And I would slowly ease into it. And then I set a goal of when I get to 200 pounds, I'm adding strength training in, like legitimate strength training, because I needed to just completely transform myself to lock in this new body and say, you know what, I'm not even the same person I was. And so when I hit 200 pounds back in July, boom, strength training kicks in, and and now it's just a whole new world, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, we see that a lot. I actually just put a podcast out a couple of weeks ago about that transition, that kind of mindset shift from going from I'm the weight loss person to now I'm the person that's maintaining weight and shifting towards strength training, gaining muscle, lean muscle development, things like that. So that's a huge transition. Maybe just touch on that a little bit. And, where was your mindset at as you started to get to the point of, okay, I think I'm kind of done losing weight. How did you shift your mindset? Because that's a really important shift, because I've seen so many people. I've helped a lot of people. I've helped over 15 people lose over 100 pounds.
Wow.
But you see them freak out when they're like, okay, what's my identity now? I was the weight loss juggernaut. Now, what's my motivation? Why am I important? Why is all this important? So what kind of mental transition did you make there from the weight loss guy to now the strength training and kind of that shift? How did you attack that situation?
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. I see a lot of people who get really close to what they consider their goal weight, and they're somewhat afraid of it because they don't want to lose their identity. And then that's huge. I spent 20 some years overweight as my name's Fat Dag. I mean, you can't call me fat at this point. So when you call me Fat Dag, people look at me like, what? So you have to make that shift. And so what I did was, for a long time, I was paying a personal trainer to add some strength training, and I was doing this at 260 pounds, and I couldn't see any muscle development under 291 pounds of fat. I just couldn't see them. I could feel myself getting stronger, but I couldn't see it. So I went to my trainer and said, hey, I love you. I have to back off. I've got to get this weight off, and when I get the weight off, I'll come back, because I'm not paying you to build muscle if I can't see them. I want to see these dang things. And so when I walked in, so I know, shout out to my trainer, but I know when I left, he laughed at me going, yeah, you're not coming back. I know that was his thought. He's like, he's another guy who's going to quit the gym and be done. And when I came back into the gym, 60 some pounds down, and said, I am back, he looked at me like, holy cow, I said, I told you I'm coming back. And so,
that's awesome.
So the mental shift for me, it happened naturally. But it happened because I didn't give up. It happened because I said, what I want to do is I kept my why. I don't ever want to fail a PT test. So in order for me to do that, I had to write my why down. And I remember reading in your story and hearing in your story that you had to write it down and read it every day. And man, I wish I would have heard that before, because I would have read mine every day and that would have probably helped me a little bit more. I read it often, but just not daily. Right. And so I read my own story to myself. I said, I don't ever want to do that. And when I was down 40 pounds, it was easy to disassociate with that old me. But I read the story and it reminded me, no, I don't want to go there. And so the greatest part of my transformation was not from 263 down to 200. The greatest part of my transformation was from 185 to 175, really. But the last 10 pounds was like beyond incredible, because for the longest time, my only life goal was to be under 200. I could not wait to get under 200 pounds. And I would have paid triple to be under 200 pounds. And now at 175, dude, I don't want to be 200 ever again. And it's so funny. And it's all because, I'm 5'11", so that helps a little bit. But, I may creep up to 200, but it would 100% be muscle. But that's a lot of work. I don't think I can even get there. I think that's a ton of muscle. But I get to the point where I feel good. When I put on a pair of 31-inch jeans, and I put on a medium T-shirt, that's something I could never do as an adult. I'm not giving that back, ever. And so it was a mental shift of me saying, you know what? I don't have an end goal in mind. My end goal is my why. My end goal is at any moment, any time, to go pass this PT test. The only way to do that is to stay in the game.
That's awesome. Now, I noticed I've dug in through your website and your podcast and everything, and I noticed you made mention of a perfect PT test, and that's kind of one of your motivators. Now, what exactly does that mean?
So the Air Force they're real kind to us, right? They make us do a PT test once a year. It consists of a 1.5 mile run. It's an abdominal waist circumference. It's push-ups in a minute and sit-ups in a minute. And those 4 components get into this mathematical formula. And they determine, based on that formula, what a perfect score is. So the first thing is they do a waist measurement. At anywhere under 40 inches or above, you automatically fail the test. Doesn't matter. I've been there. I know those rules really well. So I taped that at a 46-inch waist at one point, and that's around your belly button. Yep. And so that's when I failed my test. And 40 was failing, so I was 6 inches over that. Now when I tape out, I get the max point. So they tape me now, and they say they get me to a 31, 32, and they award me 10 points for that. Then they say, okay, go do, how many push-ups can you do in a minute? And so I crank out my push-ups in a minute, and I do the max that I can do that they'll allow me to do, and they give me max points for that. And I do my sit-ups and the same thing in a minute. And then you transition right to a run. So the only piece I have left is right now I can get an excellent score on the PT test. I could leave this interview right this second and go do my PT test, and I'm confident I can pass it. I'm confident I can get an excellent. But to get that perfect score, I need to run a 1.5 miles in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Nice. So it's about a 6-minute mile, maybe a 6:30 or so. I hired a running coach, and we're working on that. But I tell you, that is a goal, just because I want to go from failing the test to acing the test. That's just there's no other reward. It's a personal pride thing. As long as I pass the test, they're happy with me. But I'm not happy with that. I want to go from, this test got the best of me for 24 years. Boom, I'm done with you. I aced you. Moving on.
That's awesome. And I want the listeners to just make one note. Maybe you guys picked up on this, maybe not, but I sure did. And it's that Mike has a knack for putting his ego aside and tagging somebody in, or asking for some assistance, asking for help when it's needed, when it's going to be efficient to do so. So, he tagged in and got some help with Weight Watchers. He tagged in and got some help with his personal trainer. He's tagged in and got some help with his running coach. So I feel like, especially guys, especially us ego-driven male machines, we're like, I've got this. I need no help. And we just waste so much time and effort and energy doing that. So I think that is something that I hope everybody's picking up on. It's like, you don't have to do this alone. And when you are ready to go to that next level, it's time to learn something new. And to learn something new, you're most likely going to have to tag somebody else in and, soak up the knowledge from that person. So, I think that's awesome.
That is so, so, so true. So my strength coach, I have a running coach, I have a food coach. I need all three. And then on top of that, I have an entire support network of people that I've seen, just like you, that I can go, when I get to the point and I go, can I do this? I look at you and go, well, he did it. And I love you, Adam, and you're a great guy, but you're not special. You're just a human being like I am, right? So if you did it without doing anything super extreme, then what you're telling me is it's possible. So why would I not lean on you for your experience to say, hey, listen, I'm starting what you're trying to do. How did you get there? And so now you can't tell me exactly what you did step by step, but you can give me some framework, and I can take that framework and apply it to my own scenario, build my own plan, my own program. But if you're not checking in with an accountability partner, if you're not kind of checking in with somebody that's been where you're at or going where you're at, you're just missing out on an amazing resource that's there to be tapped.
Yep, I 100% agree, my friend.
Cool.
So let's dive into obstacles. What would you consider to be kind of the biggest obstacle or the hardest part of all of this so far? What's giving you trouble, or what has had you worried at a point or anything like that? What's the biggest obstacle that you faced?
I think the biggest obstacle is the complacency trap. And so when you're at 263 pounds and you get down to 260, you feel incredible. And again, now when I look at pictures of me at 200, I don't like them. And so it's very easy for me to think, hey, I can have this one slice of pizza. There's no way I can gain 91 pounds today. So I can eat 2 pizzas today and not gain 91 pounds. It's dang near impossible. But if I eat 2 pieces of pizza today, I'm reintroducing some of those bad habits in. And then now the next day becomes harder to stay with it. So the fact that you want to give up and not seeing the results, I see a lot of people, and I'm sure you see the same thing, is you start off this plan, and if you're not losing 15 pounds a week, you're disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I had a person the other day talk to me, and she's on track. She's losing a half a pound a week. I said, that's 30 pounds a year if you just keep that up, and she's not happy with a half a pound a week weight loss.
Yeah.
I said, if you don't quit, look at the average, you're going to be there. So the temptation is to get complacent in what you're doing and then not be focused on what you're doing and focused on why you're doing it. And as you know, you'll see all the time, you're going to see your friends and your coworkers, they're going to start looking at you, go, man, you look good. And I started getting at around 215 pounds. I got that, whoa, Mike, you're too skinny. You need to slow down, my friend. You need to, don't lose any more weight. I've lost 35, almost 40 pounds since I first heard the fact that I was too skinny.
Yep.
And now that I'm there, and now that I'm in this whole new body, no one calls me skinny, in that sense, or too skinny,
Right.
And, so you gotta, the obstacles are almost all in your head. Now, there's going to be, Christmas is always an obstacle, and there's Easter, and there's Thanksgiving, and all those things are obstacles. But man, that one day, if you're focused, that one day is not going to interact. That one day is just going to come and go. I went to a major golf event, playing in a pro-am, playing with the kicker from the Dallas Cowboys, and I had a lunch with me that I went to Walmart and bought bread and chicken and turkey and fruits and vegetables. And so he's eating Carrabba's. We're in the same golf cart. I'm eating the turkey sandwich. I had different goals than he did at the moment.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
So I stayed focused on it. I'm sure he's laughing at me, and right now, when I see him again, he'll understand.
Yeah, it's always like you mentioned. The holidays and those moments are always there. The life stress is always there, but it's more about the before and the after. How do you prepare before? How do you react and get refocused after? And just like you said, that those moments just blow by, and you can keep going as long as you keep that focus. So that is definitely a huge thing.
Yeah, I say real quick. I say, Christmas is a great example. Or we just got through Easter. Easter is a great example. So Easter Sunday's coming. We know when it is every year. So on Saturday, look at yourself and say, what do I want Sunday to look like? But more importantly, what do I want Monday to look like? And so on Saturday, I figured out what I want Monday to look like. Well, the only way I can get to that Monday is to do what I need to do to stay on plan through Sunday. And then boom, Monday gets here. You wake up Monday, you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought I was going to do. Boom.
That's awesome. I love it. So Mike, you have obviously been through a huge, not just a physical, but mental transformation process. And I know there's a lot of people that tune into podcasts like mine or yours, and they are at the beginning, and they are scared to death, and they're kind of standing in that lowest point, that valley of life. And, what would you tell somebody that's just starting out? They're scared to death. They know they need to do something, but they're just scared. What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would tell them exactly what you and I know to be true, that we had to find the hard way. I would say what you're trying to do is absolutely possible. Believe that, number one. If you know what you're trying to do is physically possible, then it's just a matter of figuring out how. And so you don't have to go out and do this on day one. You just have to take the first step. You have to solicit input from an accountability team, but you just got to love yourself enough to own it. And so one of the things I also credit for my success is right just before I really started getting serious about getting my weight loss under control, I fell in love with my iPhone in a sense of selfies. And so I finally embraced myself. Like, you know what? This is who I am. I'm 263 pounds. I am, I'm the biggest I've ever been, but I got a 15-year-old daughter, and I'm missing out on life because I'm embarrassed to be in any photos with her. So I had to own that piece initially and say, you know what, Mike, this is who you are. So the whole world knows it. You're the only one in denial about what you look like. So here's a thought: own it. And if you don't like it, go fix it. But denying it isn't going to help. You weigh the same whether you hop on the scale or not, right? So you got to own it, and then but man, if you know it's possible, find someone who's doing exactly what you're trying to do or something similar, and just slowly ease into it. And before you know it, you're gonna have the success that we've had and that others have had. And I'm not special. I'm a regular guy, and I work 18 million jobs. I work 50 million hours a week. If I can do it, it's possible. So that's the key: is just know it's possible and set a plan. Don't ever forget why you started. Read it daily, read it often, and stick with it.
That's awesome. Guys, that you are listening in to some high energy as promised. I told you we were going to bring it today. This is awesome. No, that just really, that sums it up, man. And I just want to take a second, I want to be respectful of your time, but I want to take a second just to acknowledge you and what you've accomplished, because, like you just said, you were in that moment. You did the hard thing. You made the decision to change. And as we know, transforming our lifestyle, overhauling all those bad habits, it could very well be the hardest thing that we ever can partake in. And you did it. And you knew, when you're in the trenches, you knew it was tough. It was tough every day, but you did it anyway. And now you're coming out the other side of the tunnel and you are helping others. And I think, we just have that kindred spirit of that's what we do, and I'm sure that you get as much of a charge out of it as I do when you motivate somebody else and they're like, yeah, I lost weight because of what Fat Dag told me to do or whatever. And
yep.
It's huge. It's huge. So I just want to acknowledge you as somebody that's out there leading by example and making a difference. So I appreciate you, brother. I'm proud of you. And I just wanted to get that out there.
Man, Adam, I appreciate that, man. And it means so much for you to say that because you're the living proof as well. So you, in this world of people who are doing what we're trying to do, you're a huge success story. And building this business that you've done and still, I wrestle with that aspect of it, as I love giving back, but there's a reality, there's only so much of me to give, and so if we don't together, those of us who had the success, man, imagine a world where every single person is at a healthy weight. Wow.
Yep.
And you and I both know it's physically possible. It doesn't matter what disease you have or what ailment you have or what injury you have. To do this, it can be done. And so imagine the next time you get on an airplane, if every single person was at an ideal weight. Wow, how fun would that be? Imagine going to a ball game or the race of the Indy 500, every single person's at an ideal weight. Wow, what a world that would be. And so it takes us telling these stories and getting them out there. And it takes you, the listener out there, going, you know what? I can be that person. These guys, these couple of knuckleheads on the podcast, they don't know. They did it. They can do, if they can do it, I can do it. And I challenge everyone out there to go get it done.
Yep. Now, before I let you go, we have to get people connected because you've got a great Instagram account. You've got a great website, a podcast. I want to make sure that people can connect with you because they're going to want to follow your story. So what is the best place to find you online?
Absolutely. So my website, fatdag.com, fatdag.com, that's where I kind of put everything. If you get there, You can find my link to Instagram. You can find the link to my podcast. On my podcast in iTunes, it's just about everywhere. It's Wise Advice, WHYS, because I think the why is more important than the smarts. So Wise Advice in iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. But really, just remember fatdag.com. Go click it out. You got some before and afters out there, and and then I'll obviously stick with your story. And I'm sure you and I will be interacting quite a bit now that we know we live close enough to each other to actually interact in real life.
Yes, I can pretty much guarantee everybody that's listening that this will not be the last time that we unite our powers, not only in podcasts, but who knows what else, because this is going to be awesome. This is going to be a great partnership, and the mojo is strong with both of us. So I'm very, very excited. So I will put all of the website links. I'll connect everything that you've got in the show notes, in the podcast, and on my blog. And you guys have to go to fatdag.com and check out his before and after pictures. My God, they are awesome. So it's with any before and after picture, my favorite part is just the look in somebody's eyes and the hope and the energy and that confidence. So it's really, really cool. So Mike, I'm super proud of you. I appreciate you taking time. I know you're a super busy guy. You're out there nailing those goals and helping lots of people along the way. So once again, very, very proud of you, my friend. And this will not be the last time that we combine our powers for the combined good of transforming other people's lives and habits. So everybody out there, I want you to go to the website, fatdag.com, check his info out, connect up, and make sure you follow Mike's story. And in the meantime, as always, I want you to get out there. I want you to own it every meal, every workout, every day. I will see you on the next episode.